It's snack time. Rhythms, vibration, cause and effect. Try not to get caught up. I think that's the best thing to do. Pat Benatar says love is a battlefield. But there's a battle going on for your mind. There is a fierce battle going on for your mind. And I guess the only way out is lean not on your own understanding. Lean not on your, because there's stuff that's going on that we don't understand. I think this world is ruled by the heart. What we can really count on is the heart. I was doing a lot of meditating, and once you start to reside in your heart, you start to see a lot of truths. The heart and the mind should correspond. That's another Hermetic principle, correspondence. You know what? It takes a little while to start seeing correspondence. And once you do, notice it and find hope when you start to see correspondence. When you start to see things in synchronicity. Synchronicity. So within, so without. And again, this is a class. But it's not an Orthodox class. Whoa. Hi, welcome. Wow, 10 people all of a sudden. We'll see who hangs around. Many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. And I think many are being called right now. Many are being called to learn the truth. Because when you first discover the truth, you'll be troubled. Then you will marvel. Hi, my melody, my melody. That's how you say music in German, melody, or música in Spanish. I think we'll learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot together. Because I'm always learning, and the right people are going to learn the right things. Hi. It was Donny Osmond. Donny Osmond sang Puppy Love. And they called it Puppy Love. Donny Osmond. Rosie O'Donnell forced him to sing that song. We're getting kind of a cloudy day today. It's a pretty nice day outside here in Georgia. This is a calm, probably before the calm. There's a lot of news out there giving misinformation. Funny, I thought Sonny Bono. No, Sonny Bono was, I got you, babe. I got you, babe. And Cher. Sonny had his share. Yeah. I like Cher. I like her songs. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves. You hear it from the people. You hear it from the people of the town. They call us gypsies, tramps and thieves. But every night all the men would come around and lay their money down. That was a good one. That was one I could remember. How old was Sonny? I don't know. I don't know how old he was. Some people die in their 30s. Some people died, I think it's the 27 club. A lot of musicians die at age 27 by things they do to themselves. Yeah. This world can be wicked at times. There are people who are taking over this world. There's a battle for this world. Hi, Oscar. So we got Oscar and David. Yes, he did. He died skiing. Hey ho, hey ho. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. We can fiddle while Rome burns. We can fiddle, we can polish the brass on the Titanic. That's what it seems like. Lately, these past few years, it feels like I'm polishing the brass on the Titanic. Or playing violin while the Titanic is going down. VH1, I think they were very much like MTV. They were a music a music channel. I remember that in the early 90s. Early to mid 90s there was VH1. I don't know if it's still going. MTV isn't a music channel anymore. We used to watch Spring Break, MTV Spring Break, and the movie awards and the video awards. They would all talk about, it was exciting. They all nominated who had the best video. They all voted. And then there was like People's Choice. Are flapjacks? Yes, they are. You are correct. It's another word for flapjacks, or another word for pancakes. You make them in the pan, or you can flap them, Jack. They're trying to excite war. We must be in a time of Aries. We must be in a time, because Aries, the god of war, and it was always just war for the sake of war. Not war because people are encroaching or people are trying to impose their politics. Like revolutions, there have been revolutions in the world. And we've seen a couple in our time. When you order them, Ed, what does it mean but a short stack? That means you only have a few pancakes. A short stack. I'm all right, Jack. Keep your hands off of my stack. That should be used for IHOP. Shouldn't that be used for IHOP? I like that song. Money is a trip. They say bad words in that song. There are a lot of words in rock and roll that have bad words in them, or a lot of songs that have bad words. Like, who are you? Who. That has the F word in it. I used to hear it. Best Ozzy Osbourne song. The best? Let me see if I can. I like Miracle Man. Have you heard Miracle Man? Jimmy, he got busted with his pants down. Repent, you wretched sinners, self-righteous clown. Miracle Man got busted. I'm looking for a miracle man who tells me no lies. I'm looking for a miracle man who's not in disguise. No, I don't know where he come from, and I don't know where he's been. That's a pretty good song. Junkie is, you like Junkie? There was also Zombie Stomp. Hey, hey, do the zombie stomp. Hey, hey, do the zombie stomp. And then there's Bark at the Moon. Screams break the silence, waking from the dead of night. Vengeance is boiling, he's returned to kill the light. And Dreamer. There's another ELO, I think, or Super Tramp, or one of those songs. One of those, not songs, but Dreamer. You say you are a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. I think that's a song. There's so many songs in my head. You know what? We're just supposed to enjoy the ride, no matter what happens. That's how miracles happen. We have to allow miracles to happen. Doubt is just you turning off the miracle. That's what doubt is. A miracle. We're always creating. We are always creating. But sometimes we're creating the wrong thing because of our mindset. Hello! I was just talking about cookies with my mother. Mother, cookies. Hi there. It's the group. The group is here. Maybe I'll start a fan club. A fan club will form. Then I can get people to support me on Patreon. I have some merch on my Patreon. Stuff that I've drawn myself. I guess once it starts kicking off, that's right, the grandchildren. They're so grand. Merch, that's right. Scroll in my description. In the description of this video, you will see my Patreon. Yeah. There's not much going on there, but I do have merch. You'll get it every month after every... you know how it works. You know how it works. What I want to do is get more equipment so that I can do some Discord. I can't do Discord right now. I don't have the phone hookup. What song did Tito? Good question. What song did Tito sing? I remember Taco. He was like a one-hit wonder. Putting on the Ritz, putting on the Ritz. Have you seen their well-to-do up and down Park Avenue on their famous thoroughfare with their nose? Oh, Toto. Toto. Hi, Skibbity. Toto. You know what? I kind of remember their songs. I need a refresher course. Thank you for subscribing. Rick, Skibbity, Kelsey, Skibbity. That's right, leave here. Why leave here? He just joined. You're very welcome. You were joking. You were joking. You know what? I think I'm going to find my hope soon. By the way, I remember Toto from my... You do? What songs did they sing, Toto? Love isn't always on time. Wasn't that one of their songs? Toe the line. Love isn't always on time. Ed, thoughts on the group Aerosmith? Loving an elevator, loving it up when I'm going down. Loving an elevator. They sang a Beatles song. Here come old flat top, he come grooving up slowly. He got hair down to his knees, Got to be a joker, he just do what he please. Come together right now over me. Was it hold the line? Okay, that, yeah. I bless the rains down Africa, toe the line. Even though they haven't, my number one band from, yes, REM. Got my spine and I got my orange crush. We are agents of the free, coming in fast over me. What are you doing? I guess I'm entertaining. I can be entertaining. What does Steven Tyler do now? I guess he still sings. A lot of the older bands are still playing. The Village People, you know, who else? Rolling Stones. I see a red door and I want it painted black. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. I'm pretty sure, yeah. He overcame heroin addiction. I think he's been sober. By the way, I used to do impressions of Michael Stipe on my old channel before I closed it due to my ex. Huh? Really? Your ex-buddy's drama? That sucks when people get in the way. Why do people get in the way? What's mom yelling at? She's not yelling. She was coughing. She did pretty good today. She went for her cardiac rehab. They had her walk a couple of laps. Even though Michael Stipe wasn't he wasn't that common. So MLB plays where the most common for my impressions. You do impressions? What about your new you're getting off with Alex Rodriguez being the most common among my impressions. Yeah. So what you could do is leave each other that way. We can kind of promote each other. Thoughts on Daryl Strawberry? Daryl Strawberry, is he most recent? I don't recall a Daryl Strawberry. Probably a fictitious name. A lot of musicians they go by fictitious names. I'm reminded of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. No, I won't back down. Oh, a baseball player. Okay. I'm not into baseball. Every time I do your A-Rod impressions, I wear there we go. Have a Marines hat, Seattle Marine, and jersey. Yep, that helps sometimes. Andy Kaufman, when he did Elvis, he'd always dress like Elvis. A-Rod played for Seattle. Yes, he did. A lot of people who become famous, they lead interesting lives. Thoughts on Richard Petty? Who's Richard Petty? These are new people. These are people who are new to me. You're really quizzing me hard. Usually they're pretty easy. Oh, NASCAR. Okay. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wasn't Danica Patrick? She was a race car driver. Yeah, race car driver. Dana was a race car driver. By the way, opinion on Peter Buck. Is he the front man? I'm not too familiar. I do remember their songs. I do remember Orange Crush, Man on the Moon. This is the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Yeah. Is there a front man? Okay, yeah. What other songs did they sing? Shiny, happy people holding hands. Who sings "The time has come"? The fact's a fact. It belongs to them. Let's give it back. Radio Free Europe. Thoughts on upside down cake? You know what? Pineapple upside down cake sounds pretty good. Talk about the passion at night. Guarding at night. Guarding at night. Laughing. 9.9 or 9-9. I guess I picked a pretty good snack today. Snacks are pretty good at the grocery store. I'm thinking about snacks right now. Wait a minute, my train of thought. Ooh, ooh. Are some of their songs I like? Okay, some of their songs. You know what I like is Cake. Cake is underrated. I like, she's going the distance. She's going for speed. She's all alone in her time of need. Ah, ah. And I like, what was another one of theirs? It was the, I Want a Girl. I've already sang that song. Did going to the movies kill TV? No, it did not. They kind of compensate each other. They complement, not compensate, they complement each other. Movies sometimes wind up on TV. If you don't know this, Cake also did the theme song for Mission Hill. You know what? Primus did South Park, the South Park theme song. I think that's what put them on the map. Going downtown, going to meet some friends of mine. Friendly people everywhere. Humble folks without temptation. That one. Going downtown. Ample parking day or night. People shouting, howdy neighbor. Robot Chicken, yeah. I remember Robot Chicken. Lots of Star Wars references. Transformers, robots in disguise. More than meets the eye. And then there was the GoBots. I think GoBots came out before Transformers. They were mentioned on Clerks 2. You ever watched Clerks 2? They were talking about the Transformers. They were pretty popular in those live action movies. Pretty popular. Megan Fox was one of them in that. And Shia LaBeouf. He was in Even Stevens. He was a child actor. He's a pretty dedicated actor. Transformers. Metatron. Remember Megatron? Megatron? Metatron? They kind of sound the same, don't they? Metatron was supposed to be Enoch. Enoch became an angel. He became Metatron. The Metatron has spread his wings. Metatron's a pretty big deal. They say people do become angels. Have you seen movie Moana? Are you talking about Moana? Is a Disney film. Yeah, The Rock. He plays that character. Isn't it interesting? Every culture has their deity or deities. Like the Greeks, the Nordic, the Haitian. They have their lords and ladies, goddesses and gods, and there's stories behind each of them. I also like Guided by My Voices, well as you do. So you're a music guy. I'm kind of a music guy. Music and movies. I like me gusta música and cinema. I like seeing a good movie. The last one I saw was Gladiator 2. I want to see good movies. Lately they haven't had any good movies. In the movie plays a crab. We plays a crab. Little Mermaid had a crab, didn't they? It was like, not a crab, but what do they call those? Those hermit crabs? Wasn't there a hermit crab named Sebastian? That was a big deal when I was younger. Little Mermaid. Sports, movies, graphic art. There's a big call or a big demand for like live action lately. Live action mixed with CGI. I guess it's cheaper to use CGI. The crab in the movie sings, all right, oh yeah, A Long Way Shiny. And then there was Kiss the Girl. Kiss the Girl. I think people like that reggae, calypso kind of music. Bahamas. There was, what was the another one? The Caribbean. I also, you do graphic art, okay. For an alternative timeline. Created by National Hockey League. That's pretty good. I like that. I like creativity, handicrafts, expressions. I like going to art shows. Art shows are pretty fun. Bob Marley, he thought of, what was that song? It was, Don't Worry, Be Happy. That was his song. When you're worried, your face will frown. That song. And also, No Woman, No Cry. That was one of his songs. What was another song of Bob Marley? There was a couple other ones. There was, Every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing. He died of a toe infection. They offered to remove his toe, and he didn't want, his faith didn't allow him to do things like that. So that's how he, you know what, the guy who owned Jack Daniels, he died that way too. It was a toe infection. Simple Bean Kansas City Thunder was based on the Tampa Bay Lightning logo. Thoughts on the Baja Men who let the dogs out? I think they were what, one-hit wonder. Speaking of one-hit wonders, some songs do very well for a short time. Yeah. The Baja Men, and then Shaggy. Shaggy was somebody who did a It Wasn't Me or something like that. That's a while ago. I need to be updated on some of this. All this trivia. And pretty much the only change the state of Florida. Yeah, Tampa Bay front outline, the state of Missouri. Thoughts on Nelly? Nelly. Remind me who Nelly is. It kind of rings a bell, but it kind of rings a bell, but Nelly. What songs did Kansas City in western Missouri? That's right. I wonder how much longer things are gonna go well. Things don't seem to be going well. Come and ride with me. Come and ride with me. Nelly. That's a, yeah, it's been a while. I listened to 99X out here in Georgia. It's called 99X. They play 80s songs, 90s songs. So it's hard to keep up with most of the artists. Or remember the older ones. I grew up with the Eurythmics. Annie Lennox sang with the Eurythmics. Thoughts on Paul Diamond? Where are you getting these? Do you just go through your records? You have like a box of records? Yeah, the same. So yeah, that's my generation, baby. Hello, welcome. I like Eurythmics. Yes. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? There's one Annie Lennox song, Must Be Talking to an Angel. Must be talking to an angel. And also, Neil Diamond, yes. Reaching out, touching me, touching you, touching, yeah, touching something. Sweet Caroline. And then Neil Diamond. He was featured in a Jack Black movie. Coming right at ya. Saving Silverman. I think it was called Saving Silverman. That was a long time ago. Are you ignoring me? No, I'm not. I'm not. Well, now, Duda. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while since you've been here. Leaving your bright ray of sunshine. You just came on. What do you mean I'm ignoring you? How dare you? How dare you come onto my show and talk like that? I used to do Neil Diamond impressions a lot, as well as on my old channel. That's okay. It's okay. That's what I'm interested in. Do some impressions. I'll try to do some impressions. Doing like Stewie Griffin. Sometimes I have to be in the right mood to do Stewie. So I've been here, I've been talking. How come I haven't seen your texts? Thoughts on Garth Brooks' song and dance? Garth Brooks worked at Kmart. I worked at Kmart. He also had Chris Gaines. I was working around the time that album came out, that Chris Gaines. Doesn't he have Friends in Low Places? Thunder Rolls, Lightning Strikes. Garth Brooks. Where did he go? He was rocking the airwaves with his music. Unfortunately, I stopped doing videos because my ex. So yeah, really, you can't shut him out. Exes. All my exes live in Texas. That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee. Thoughts on Tracy? Are you just looking up these names? I think you're just messing with me. Sometimes you do that. Yes, I see your emojis. It's a competition. It's a competition for emojis. Tracy Bird. I remember a Larry Bird because my ex-buddy Ryan's is and rest of my crappy friends keep taking me away. Oh, taking you way too seriously. You know what? We comedians are not always understood. People who try to joke about things, they're taken way too seriously. Why so serious? We need to joke. My mom doesn't like it when I joke. My mommy, my own mommy. I'd like to, and you know what? People around me, when I'm joking with her, I can watch them laughing. I watch them laugh when I joke about things. These outsiders. God put me with my mother for a reason. You got to go? All right. I hope nobody ignores you. I think that's what it is likes don't always attract. Sometimes opposites attract. Like that Paula Abdul song, Opposites Attract. Opposites attract. Like magnets, you know, their opposite ends go and they stick together. In where did I make a mistake with me screaming, what is your problem? In my A-Rod impression, and unfortunately, why shouting my own head off. Yeah, for 5 minutes. You know what? The guy, Berries and Cream. Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. There's a video of him saying that for 10 hours. 10 hours. That would make anybody break, I think. Could you imagine that? 10 hours of berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad. And then there was, Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? There was 10 hours of that, too. That's what you should do if you want to gather information. You want to interrogate somebody. Just start playing 10 hours of berries and cream at a certain decibel. You know, a decibel makes somebody just kind of crack. Ed, who sings the song Cowboy Take Me Away? I do not know. Cowboy Take Me Away. And then there was Tenacious D. Wonder Boy, won't you take me far away from the mucky muck? Oh, take my hand, young nasty man, and we'll fly. You could kill the yak from 200 yards away with mine bullets. I have that album. I gotta dig it out. It's been a while since I've heard that album. I miss my CD player. I have one in my car, but it would be nice to just have a CD player. To just put a CD in and we could listen to music together. Thoughts on the group called Wham. Wake me up before you go. George Michael went solo. He went by himself into Careless Whisper. Yeah, that's where Wham. What other song did they sing? That's the one I most remember. Wake me up before you go, 'cause I'm not planning on going solo. But only a few days later, I see Dan Soul doing the exact same thing I did. So he stole your idea. Absolute cringe. Rest in peace. I know. He was featured in a comedy. They were talking about how George Michael has connections, how people just disappear. It was about a cat. Somebody stole a cat. Key and Peele, those two guys, came out with, I think it was, they had a show for a while, and then I forget the name of that movie. George Michael, Daryl Hall, and John Oates. Oh, here she comes. Watch out, boys, she'll chew you up. Oh, here she comes. She's a man-eater. I like Family Man, too. Leave me alone. I'm a family man, and my bark is much worse than my bite. Leave me alone. What was it? There was, no can do. I can't go for that. Whoa, no can do. I can go for being twice as nice. I can go for repeating the same old lines. You want the body, now you want my soul. No, you got the body. That's right. You got the body, now you want my soul. I do almost anything. That can't believe it's almost been 10 years. Yeah, 10 years ago. How old is, I don't know. You need to go and Google. I think you would be very happy in Google. You would be able to just Google it. Then you'd be able to answer some of my questions. Answer my questions. Ask me no questions, and I'll tell you no lies. So yeah, you could check out my Patreon. Patreon. There's not much I have to offer right now, but hey, it's a Patreon. It's also called Eddie's Funhouse. If you want some time in Eddie's Funhouse, do you? I need to pay more attention to my good news. Thoughts on PayPal used to be the only way people would buy things, the only way people would pay. When people shopped on eBay, or they would bid, when they paid, it was always through PayPal. I've heard it's pretty secure. It's a pretty secure way of paying for things. Also, donate. You can donate to this channel through my PayPal account. You'll find it. Just scroll through all those links. I have so many links. I'll call them Eddie's links. Eddie links. Well, we got through today. My mom did well at the cardiac rehab. She's going again tomorrow to cardiac rehab. You got to rehabilitate her cardiovascular system. Goodwill. You can find a lot of cool stuff at Goodwill. One man's trash is another man's treasure. I got a telescope from Goodwill. I got a telescope and I got some paintings. They have oil paintings that are probably worth a lot of money. Oil paintings. What else? They have candles. You can buy a lot of cool stuff at Goodwill. If you're low on clothing, we've dropped off some things for Goodwill. In fact, I want to do that. Every summer, I could probably drop off the pants that I wore all winter. People could probably use those pants. You know what? I think that's all we're going to be able to afford pretty soon. All we'll be able to afford. We'll be fighting over Goodwill. We'll probably, because now all the richer people, they're shopping at Walmart now. All the richer people, the well-to-do, they go to Walmart, they go to Target, where we used to go because we were poor, you know. Now, it'll be, oh my goodness, we'll probably be selling close to each other. Swap meets. That's what we need, swap meets. Goodwill, caring for mankind. People used to make fun of people who shopped at Goodwill. Who's laughing now? Thoughts on Gap? That's a clothing line. Gap. Fall into the Gap. Like American Eagle, Adidas. They're brand names, I think. Then there's Nordstrom. I don't think... There was a place I used to go to for discount clothes. It wasn't Goodwill. Mom's getting a phone call. I can always hear when Mom gets a phone call. Who's the third person? There's two people, David and Rick. Dave and Rick are here. So it's pronounced Kine. Kaine. I like when people use their names. Why don't people just use their names anymore? They have X3997, Happy Boy 223. You know, I can understand that because some people just don't want their names to get out there. But it's so much easier to give a shout out. Kites are fun. I like making my own kites. with cloth, garbage bags. I made one out of a garbage bag. I took 2 sticks. What it needs is a long tail. 2 sticks side by side, and then you take the garbage bag. You can make a kite out of garbage bags. As long as it's a windy day and you got lots of string. I'm going to probably do that one of these days. Just get a grocery bag. You know those plastic grocery bags? They used to have paper or plastic. Remember that? Paper or plastic? Now it's just plastic. And there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish. That's what the prediction is. Billboards. Billboards aren't like the old billboards now. They're digital. Hello, Charlotte. How are we? How are you today? We're talking about billboards and kites. Kites. Let's go fly a kite up to the highest height. Bye. You're heading off? Okay, well, thank you for enjoying. I hope you enjoyed your stay at Eddie's Funhouse. Watch your step. Watch your step. Doing well. I have snacks again. That's my last name, Eddie Snack Again. Hi, I'm Eddie Snack Again. That'd be cool if you could make up your own name. Make up, you can. It's a fictitious name. Yay, yay, yay. I'm not using artificial light today. Well, good, you're having fun. Having fun at Eddie's Funhouse. I hope everything gets better. I'm hearing different stories. Different stories. I hear victories and I hear madness. There's either victories or madness. They're doing a lot of crazy things here in America. They're deporting people. And they're redefining. What do you think of Trump wanting to take over Gaza? I really don't know everything. What's hard is making a decision based on what you know, because there's what the popular opinion is. Long time, no one's done anything. Hello. It's all about benefits. Never underestimate best interests. There are horrible things that are allowed to happen in the world because people benefit. People benefit from suffering, benefit from bombing. People benefit, and they let things happen. They turn a blind eye. If someone opened up the closet door behind you, what skeletons would they find? I don't know. Who doesn't have skeletons? Sometimes the skeletons are ones you forgot about. There are those skeletons, the ones you forgot were there. This is not a closet. This goes out into the hallway. It does look like a closet. It's hard to tell what's behind a door. Door number 1 or door number 2. He wants all the people out and build for his benefit. He does not want to help the people who have suffered. And it's weird. Isn't it weird what people do when they have the ability to do it and their reasons, you know? And that's what makes this world. People know, and it's like there's a battle for this world. I noticed this back in the Iraq War, okay? They made sure that there was a lot of demolition, a lot of leveled buildings, so that certain people could go and rebuild. Those certain people were paid by certain people to go rebuild. So follow the money. I always hear that. Follow the money. And why do people do things and they candy coat it, they justify it, and we're just collateral damage. We're just people who happen to be there, lives lost, and it's only so a few people can benefit. You can't just take over someone. And you know what? They do all the time. Look at what happened in Australia to the Aborigines. Look what happened here with the indigenous people. They're not letting them go either. The indigenous people here are being called into question. See, their loophole is they were allowed to be their own nation. These reservations were their own nation, okay? They were not part of America. They were living on American land that was basically just taken over for the benefit of a few powerful people. And that's what happens with power. It's the good people aren't the ones, I don't know. I don't like politics. Live and let live until they don't want you to live. That's my philosophy. Live and let live until they no longer want you to live. Then you've got to fight. Like that poem, I guess, and then they came for me. I keep wondering about that. Will my status be defined, redefined? Yeah. It is. What's yours, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is negotiable. And it's the evil that men do is mind-boggling. If there weren't any laws, and people who benefit from laws are basically to entrap. If you watch, there are people who are in prison who didn't do anything. People who are detained that didn't do anything. I like to think about World War II when we were fighting against the Japanese. They created internment camps, and again, they just round people up and say, okay, this is your home now, instead of compassion, mercy. We all benefit from compassion and mercy, but it's so tactfully done. It's so skillfully done. So skillfully done. The rounding up of people, the undesirables, or people who just opposition. This country was built on opposition, but only certain people benefit. I mean, you have a point, but like some laws are. Yes, laws do, but it's too late. Laws are always too late. So many children, so many women, so many people the law is too late, way too late. There are no preventative measures. Like I keep thinking of Polly Klaas. Look up Polly Klaas. She was abducted from her bedroom. And Tina Fey. Tina Fey was just playing in her front yard. She was on SNL. She did an impression also. Wish I could remember. I get the picture of her head in my head. But anyways, somebody came into her front yard and cut her face. The law is too late. We need to be watchful and protective. Not just protect and serve, watch and protect. But then they defund the police. The police do things that destroy the trust of the people. They destroy the trust of the people. It used to be when I say, I'm going to call the cops, people would stop. But now it's like, go ahead and call the cops. There's so many legal beagles out there who know that they they overstep. I'm seeing more and more videos about cops that are ignorant, or they get power trips, and it makes you lose sleep. It makes you wonder, is everybody being treated fairly? One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all? It's almost like they're selling it to us. How they sell it to us. Are we really one nation? We have so many languages here, so many different ethnicities. We have you know, we need to redefine America. That's what will make America great again. Redefining one nation under God. Which God? Which God is this nation under? I'm starting to think, yeah, and that's what they do. They make you doubt that there's even a God. It's called gaslighting. Gaslighting. It's actually a psychological term in psychology. They get you to wondering what is real. What in the hell is even going on? Every time you turn on the news, every time you watch videos, you don't even know what to believe anymore. It forces you to go inward. It's like, what am I responsible for? And it takes us. It takes all of us. Whether you're Canadian, whether you're an American, whether you're in Ireland, personal responsibility. People notice. If you want people to judge how people judge you, oh, Canadians are like this, Americans are like this, the Brits are like this, it's because somebody behaved that way. And thank you, and keep coming back. I think we need this. Cooler heads prevail. We could be the house of cool heads, because that's what makes stereotypes. When enough people are doing the same thing, it creates a stereotype. We need to blow away stereotypes. Stop being loud. Stop being upset. We're upset because we're not being treated right. And we need to say something, do something. Trump is getting rid of transgender out of the army. Then some are built up experiences that can't be replaced. And what they're doing to kids, little kids, telling them, you're a boy trapped in a girl's body, or you're a girl trapped in a boy's body. And we're going to change that. Some people unlife themselves. They unlife themselves because, they don't know. And then suddenly their genitals have been removed and replaced. And they're not even 18 yet. And that's what a lot of people are disturbed about, and what they're putting in the libraries. Have you heard some of those videos? Or have you listened to them? The videos of what they're allowing kids to read nowadays? We got to talk about this stuff. And the people, personal responsibility. Who's allowing this? Who's allowing these things to happen? Good men do nothing. Why are good men doing? Because they're afraid to die. I think that's what it is. We're so afraid to die or suffer a loss. But is the juice worth the squeeze? Sometimes it is. When a kid is abducted from their bedroom, I think the juice is worth the squeeze. What if it's your kid? People are let out after they are convicted of crimes. Some people are alive because it's illegal to kill them. What about any group of people? They're coming down on Christians too. They're coming down on the indigenous people. And it's, are we all just functionally insane? That's bad. Giving kids some, yeah, wrong. Kids who aren't even old enough to decide. In most states, 18. You got to be 18 to sign a piece of paper. But you're not old enough to drink. You're not old enough to drink if you can sign a piece of paper. That's what, who was that guy? Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura was sent off to Vietnam, okay? He wanted to stay in Vietnam because he could be a man. He could drink a beer at 18. When he came to America, he says, I'd rather be in Vietnam because I can have a beer, you know? And then he said, yeah, I guess you send kids to die, don't you? And that makes a lot of sense. It's all legal. You can legally get into I mean, that's the best way to get somebody is legally screwed, I guess. The loopholes. All people have to do is figure out loopholes or ways to get by a clear law. I don't know. It makes me not want to be here. If I can get on a ship and go to another planet, I'd say sign me up. As long as there's clean water, you know, where the deer and the antelope play, yeah. Let's all get on a ship. Well, we can make a ship. Get the hell off this planet. People are taking to the woods. People want to live off-grid. I wonder why. And they're found. If you want to live off-grid, don't go on YouTube. Dig yourself a hole in the ground to save you from an atomic blast, you know. Grow your own shit, you know. Grow your own food. Get you some chickens. Rabbits. Rabbits replicate like crazy and they're good eating. Nobody eats rabbits though. Rabbit season. Duck season. Yeah. Rabbits, ducks. People are eating anything. Nutria. You can eat nutria. Look up nutria. You could probably harvest, keep them as livestock. As long as you can keep them in gates. Wild hogs. People are hunting wild hogs because there's so many of them. See, there you go. The buffalo, the Lakota, I think that they had the right idea. Just let the buffalo reproduce, and it's easy pickings. Salmon, if we would just stop messing with the environment, Mother Earth can sustain us. Listen to the Hopi, listen to the Navajo. It's like they're a wealth of knowledge. Why are we trying to get rid of them? This world is a dying planet. Watch the planet. Even when I was a kid, that what's funny is that Indian was a Sicilian. He wasn't an Indian. He wasn't a Native American, but he fooled me, and he got the point across. Or did he? I still see trash on the sides of the highways, freeway. Why do people throw trash out of their cars? Don't put trash in your car in the first place. If you're driven to throw things out your window, that should be a crime. Just throwing stuff out your window. What if the kid is riding his bicycle? Did you know his first job was an artist? He also was a messenger. There were so many times Hitler's life was saved, miraculously. There were so many attempts on his life. He fought during World War One. And it's like, are you seeing some similarities in people who they don't, you forget trying to kill him as a baby. People couldn't kill him. He was unstoppable. And it's like, it's his life was spared. Look at the history of Hitler. It'll boggle your mind. The times he could have died. How many lives would have been saved? Maybe. Because for every dead Hitler, there's probably 100 Hitlers that live. You know, you can't seem to kill them all. Kill them all, let God sort them out. It's what we're doing. I think God is sitting back and watching what we do. And he just shakes his head. What we do to each other. And you want Jesus to come back? Jesus is probably saying, I ain't coming back. I'll come back when you guys start playing nice. When there's compassion. When you actually love each other. What's your opinion about Iranian government? I really don't know. I can't really form an opinion. I live in this fishbowl that feels so safe for now. For now, America feels kind of safe. But then when you see the news, it's a battle for your mind. It's this, once they seize your mind, once they come in and get you to agree that you are powerless, that you are immobilized, that you just have to agree. He thought he was killing the Jews for good. But really, when you killing, what does that, yeah. And he was probably being told that. There were a lot of blind eyes turned while this is all going on. The genocide. But Joseph Stalin, same thing. Look at Joseph Stalin. He was a murder machine. Idi Amin, oh my God. And we let them live because certain people benefit. Certain people benefit from, there has to be some great crimes. They say wealth comes from great crimes. I'm probably going to get rounded up. What, you probably watched them shut me down. Who was that guy? Alex Jones? Alex Jones, who yeah, for example. But there, I might probably be just another talking head. I'm a talking head. Some guy who goes on YouTube. Maybe they'll put me away in a white room. Have you heard about that white room torture? I think it's a Chinese idea. They just put you in a white room and leave you there. Hello and welcome. I think what it is God wants to see what we do. And he's not happy. He's not, you know what? Things take care of themselves. If you really think about it, look where people end up. Look where people end up. Hi. White room with, yeah, nothing but white. You've heard about it. It's been a while. Yes, it has. Hello, Ryan. Yes, I guess we're talking about what's on our minds. It's a battle for our minds. Forget our souls. It used to be our souls. Remember that? It's like we got to save the souls of mankind. I think until we accept personal responsibility, we're going to go nowhere. We're going to go nothing. We're only going to go nowhere. Because it takes, I think, wasn't it Shakespeare? Shakespeare said, evil is nothing that the mind does not make. It takes an evil man to do evil things. It doesn't just happen. Yes, it is, and it's about time. For as long as we can. For as long as we can, we'll talk about, as long as we're allowed. Hopefully I haven't said any words that are on the list. They could put me on a list. It's like, yeah. But you know what? We got to do something. And most of it is personal responsibility. Yes, there are commandments, but does anybody follow them? Yes, Jesus said, love one another as I have loved you. I'm not seeing a lot of that. Jesus is probably shaking his head right now. He's going, I don't know what these people expect. And you want to go to heaven? You want me to be your Lord and Savior? And you do this to each other? Jesus is probably saying, Jesus. You make Jesus say, Jesus. Good Lord. Taxing each other. Not allowing people to just prosper. Give me 4 acres of land. Give me 4 acres of land. And the right conditions. I could probably buy something that you want. I could probably grow things. I probably need more than 4 acres. Because you know what? Seasons don't always permit. Seasons don't always permit good growth. But when it does, when you have corn, barley, alfalfa, things that grow without even planting it, we get rid of things that just grow naturally. Dandelions, you can eat the whole thing, a dandelion. Cacti, mushrooms, things just grow in certain climates. You don't have to water them. You don't have to fertilize them. They just frickin' grow. And why do they do that to us? Trump can't even admit his own as, yeah. There's some benefits to autism, but there's some drawbacks. The umbrella of autism, I think. There are a lot of celebrities who have autism. Yeah. And you know what? People suspected that because of the way he talks sometimes. The things he says sometimes. It's like he doesn't have a filter. But you know what? It's hard when you give one person all that power. There's a reason for everybody. Not just a few people should benefit. Am I the voice of reason? Maybe. The one crying out in the wilderness? Just let me drink my beer. Let me watch the ball game. Don't make it so hard on me. When your rent goes up by $40 and your income hasn't increased, what does that do? What else do you have to sacrifice? $40 can buy some groceries. $40 could put gas in your tank. And why? Greed? Yeah. You know what? It starts with us. It starts with us not screwing each other over. Making it hard on each other. Making it harder. Why? They wonder why suicide is at an all-time high. Or can I even say the word? They don't even let you say that word. It's like, okay, what causes a person to just say, I'm out of here? I'm out of here. I'm done with this. And you know what? They're not dumb. They're not dumb. When like me, I can see stuff coming. I can, at least a half a mile away, I can see stuff coming. When you take away a guy's job, when you make him have to live with his mother, and you don't have that hope. When you take away hope from somebody, God has the power to stop suffering. We have the power to stop suffering, but are we using that power? You can stop suffering just by letting somebody live. Just let them live. I think what we do is we blame God. We do all these evil things to each other, and we say, how can there be a God? And God says, you got it, guys. You have it all wrong. You get up and you decide to do these things to each other, and you blame me. You blame me for, that's like me blaming my neighbor. Blaming my neighbor for, I don't know, fill in the blank. Says, you want me to come down here and look at how you treat each other? You can't even forgive a debt? Isn't that what the Lord says? Forgive us our trespasses. You can't even forgive a trespass, and you want me to come down there? Fat ch- So much suffering mentally. I know. Isn't it so much easier if I just forgive you? Isn't it so much easier if I don't pick your pockets? Isn't it so much easier if I just quit raising your rent? People who are loyal to you for years. My mother was loyal for years to this place, and rent went up $40. That's a lot. That's a lot to most people. And I've watched this happen, and it seems like I can't do much about it. I was in the apartment industry, you know, watching people have to leave their apartment, their humble abode, because people are coming in right behind them who pay more rent. There was a Michael Moore movie. What was that movie? It was called Roger and Me. Watch Roger and Me. If you don't want to, try not to shoot yourself after that. Roger and Me. It was about um, jobs leaving America, and people were being evicted. The whole movie was just people being evicted from their apartments. And it's like the American dream, try American nightmare. God, God has his eyes to stop kids suffering. What happens to the dark? He should stole it. But then who's accountable? Who's accountable? Who do we hold accountable? If someone murders someone, if someone steals from someone, the person who stole is accountable, not God. Don't blame God. It says I didn't do this. It was the person who did it. And then we don't punish. We don't punish those who should be punished. Which is more evil? Letting out these monsters? Letting out these monsters? Okay, have a good night. It's a good idea to sleep. We're not allowed to sleep sometimes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this rant. We're having a rant. Yeah, it's like, okay, a rabid dog. If I contain a rabid dog and then let him out, who's responsible for who that rabid dog bites, harms? Bye! Yeah, thank you for coming by. But you know what? Who's responsible? I'm gonna put, you know what, on my posts, there's a whole video about the dating game killer. This guy went on the dating game, and there's quite a few people who have committed horrible crimes, but they were let back out. That's like just taking a grenade, pulling the pin and just tossing it out your door. Just toss it. Doesn't matter who's out there. I know I have a grenade, and I pull the pin and I toss it out. And I don't care who's standing out there. You know, and it doesn't make sense, does it? God should hold the abuser accountable. We don't hold abusers accountable. God puts us here to teach us how to behave. That's one of the reasons I think to uplift each other and teach each other how to behave. We don't do enough. We aren't doing enough to stop. Some people should be put down like a rabid, And that's what bothers me. What bothers me is a person is capable of harm and you let them out and they do more harm. And then finally you give them the death penalty. Finally. It's like, yeah. It defies logic, doesn't it? All this defies logic. Sense and sensibility out the window. Just logic. Plain old 70 IQ, 70, most people understand that. Why are we tossing grenades out the door without caring who's standing out there? They know full well that this person is capable. Oh yeah, he's reformed. Look at what our prisons have done. But then it makes people who are reformed. There are people who get reformed. They're out there having YouTube channels. They have YouTube channels and they're talking about their time they spent. And they're no longer offending. They're checking in with their parole officers, It defies logic. To whose benefit? Nobody's benefit. I don't know. Welcome to Eddie's Funhouse. Lord help us all. Help us all. But you know what? I think certain people don't get hurt because they decided to forgive people. They decided to forgive debts and trespasses. But to what degree? To what degree do you forgive? Because if you forgive the wrong person, we can't stop what happens in the dark. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? I think that's what God asks. What are you going to do about it? You see somebody hanging around a playground, looking a little suspicious, looking a lot suspicious. What are you going to do about it? A lot of people do nothing. I was watching this guy. Have you seen that video? This guy was next to an alley. He grabs a little kid and runs down the alley with this little kid. Nobody does anything. One short lady actually intervened for this little child. And we cry because things are happening to the children. Things are happening to the children. I need to find that video again and post it. It's like, it was a social experiment. This guy grabs a little boy and runs down an alleyway, put his hand over his mouth, and then people they saw it go down, didn't do anything. One person intervened. That's not enough. You chase that guy down and he doesn't walk again. If he tries to take a little kid, run down the alley with him, they're so small. Those little kids can do nothing. Except maybe scream or bite. And it's, anyways. Evil men prosper because good men do nothing. Are we really good men if we do nothing? Are we really good men? Can we be defined or understood or construed as good men if we do nothing? You're just as evil if you do nothing. You're a co-conspirator, an accessory. You become an accessory. Congratulations. You're an accessory. If you do nothing. Anyways, I've talked for about an hour and 25 minutes. Is everybody liking this so far? And we blame it on God. We blame it on God. We do horrible things and we go, why didn't God stop it? It's like watching a brick and fall from a construction site, a building, and you say, why didn't God, instead of yelling, look out, a ton of bricks, some guy goes a little too far with the wheelbarrow at the edge of the building and dumps a ton of bricks. Nobody yells, look out. They go, how could God let that happen? How could God let all those bricks fall and kill those 4 people? Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Or a dog. They let a dog run around. How could God let a dog bite a kid and tear him up? How could God let a chimpanzee eat a woman's face? It's like, dude, you messed with the chimpanzee. I don't know. I think I proved my point. How could God let that car hit that telephone pole and cause a blackout? No, it was the idiot who got drunk, who got into the vehicle, flew down the freeway, and smashed into that pole, killed 4 other people. God didn't let that happen. God didn't make that happen. Maybe that'll bring hope to people, knowing that God didn't make that happen. I don't know. Am I sane today? Am I seeming sane today? You can make yourself go crazy, can't you? Just thinking about stuff like this. Straitjacket crazy. Stop yourself from going straitjacket crazy. Straitjacket, batshit crazy. I've said bad words, haven't I? But you know what? That's PG. Parental guidance. Well, I think I'm clothed and in my right mind. Are we all clothed and in our right mind? And what we do to ourselves, forget what we do to each other. We worry a lot. We doubt. You believe in. There's a lot of evidence of reincarnation. A lot of evidence of reincarnation. And you know what? I think that's what happens. We have a lot of lessons to learn. I think that's the Buddhists. The Buddhists, they said you can achieve Buddhahood through many lifetimes. Some people achieve it in a few lifetimes. And I think the soul is much more powerful. The soul it takes a lot of lifetimes to get to the point. You have to know what it's like to be, a white person, what it's like to be a black person, what it's like to be a brown person, before you can really understand. Should you sit back and leave your child be abused? But God does. I think that's what it is accountability. We're not accountable. Like, who do you leave your child with? Sometimes you trust the wrong person. And again, I keep thinking, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Sometimes you do get fooled. Sometimes you are bamboozled, because people are good at bamboozling. They're good at deceiving people. Sometimes it takes prayer. Say, hey, God, could you tip me off? Could you give me a heads up? Sometimes we know right away who's up to no good. We know right away. Everybody knows, but we got to prove it in court. That's the setback. Everybody knows, but we have to prove it in court. You have to take 12 people who don't want to be there, who weren't there when it happened, and you got to prove to them that something happened. Does that make sense? You got to take 12 people and sit them in a box and look at evidence that could be circumstantial. That's why people spend time in prison who never committed a crime. But there are people who are put to death who didn't commit a crime. People who did commit a crime who were let out to harm more people. I don't know. We just aren't paying attention. I think that's what it is. There's a lot of the NIMBYs, not in my backyard. The NIMBYs or it's not where I live. Why should I care? It's not where I live. It didn't happen on my subway. I think that's what it is. Psychopathy. It seems like the psychopaths, there are some benefits to being a psychopath and to being a sociopath. And there are certain signs that you look for, I guess, that makes you aware that you're talking to a sociopath. What if it's the child dad that enters his room at night? Yes, that's what I mean. Who's paying attention? When the kid says, I'm being abused, so many times people go, oh, just shut up. You're just making it up. Because they don't want to admit that there is an abuser. There is somebody who violates boundaries, Or they're afraid. They're afraid to do something because, like, for example, people are violated. They come forward and they say, I was violated. And they're looked at as the criminal. They're looked at as the person who did something wrong. So they don't report. They don't even bother reporting sometimes. Or when they do, it's they're not taken seriously. But anyway, I think that's what it is. Watch yourself. Pay attention and watch yourself. And listen to little kids when they start talking about things that little kids shouldn't even enter their mind. Little kids learn things. They see things. They talk about things that no little kid should even know. Little kids should just know probably how to play checkers, or how to play patty cake. My Little Pony. They shouldn't know things that people shouldn't know. We're not doing enough. And we blame God. We blame God. And the aliens don't probably want to come down. Look what we do to aliens when they come here. They regret wanting to talk to us, the aliens. They talk to us telepathically because they don't want to come anywhere near us. Even angels. How do we treat angels? They say we entertain angels unaware. Be careful to entertain strangers. How many strangers have you talked to in a kind way? I was a stranger and you welcomed me. That's what Jesus said. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was hungry and you fed me. That's how he decides whether or not you're a goat. You know what I think happens? You're just left here. You're just left here. If you're a goat, if you're a sheep, maybe God considers. Maybe God considers say, oh, you know what? I'm going to make it easy on this guy. But what if the child is made to be silent? My point is, if God knows it's happening, it's also, you know what? I think Amy Smart, okay, remember Amy Smart? She was kidnapped. She was held against her will. But something happened. Something happened. She was abducted for years. Something happened. I think that's God. I think that's God. God allows someone to be in the right place at the right time to discover what's going on and to alert people. You know, sometimes that's God's way of making you come closer. God wants you to come closer. I don't know that much about God, but what I do know is there are times when people have eluded. Hi there, Braley. You have the flu? Me too. I also had the flu. You had the flu? Me too. Yeah. And I think like Ted Bundy. There was someone who was not a victim of Ted Bundy, who could very well have been a victim of Ted Bundy. Is that God intervening? I think so. There were other people who, there was a girl in the woods, I think with her friend, camping, and there was a squishy spot, and somebody was hanging around in the woods, and turned out it was Ted Bundy. Maybe that's divine intervention. People who could very well be killed, who are not killed, that's God stepping in. But then maybe God wants some people to come home. It's time to come home. And that's what I need to be, when is God going to say that about me? You know what, Ed? It's time to come home. I can't go to school for the rest. Are you sad about that? That you can't go to school for the rest of the week? Sounds like you're bragging. Are you bragging? Braley. Yeah, so many, yeah. It's hard to know because God says, I will have compassion upon whom I will have compassion. We don't see everything. Some people are supposed to be spared. Some people are not, because we don't see everything. I don't know. Sometimes I think death is a sweet release, especially when you're going through cancer. Yes, I am sad because it is our last week of baseball. Oh, okay, that's why. So something's being taken from you, and then it's track. So you're a baseball fan, eh? Okay. That's messed up, Eddie. You have to suffer to come closer to God. No child or human should suffer. Sometimes we suffer because of our ignorance, because of our lack of faith. We suffer because we're ignorant. I've suffered because I'm ignorant. I'll probably be one of the first people to say, I didn't understand a lot of stuff. And I think the more you understand, the less you suffer. The more you understand to just believe. Life shouldn't be a struggle, but it is. We make it a struggle because we don't have faith. Well, at least we're talking. At least again, I don't know everything. But there are things that I do know from experience, from just life is harder if you're not smarter, if you, yeah. Sometimes it's not because God is wanting us to suffer. It's because of our ignorance, because of our stubborn, we're ignorant, we uh, we don't want to change, which is stubborn. I think that's what it is. God doesn't want us to suffer, but he allows. He doesn't kill us right away. He doesn't maim us right away. He has that grace period. He allows a grace period for us to figure it out, to maybe not be so stubborn, maybe be more forgiving. But then again, I don't know everything. And people would call me an idiot, maybe. There are people who are atheists. They do not believe that there is a God, or they say, how could there be a God? And you know what? I don't know everything, and they don't know everything. But I just noticed that what we're doing to each other down here, and blaming God because a child suffers because lack of faith in a loving God should protect all. I think he does. Again, you got to feel the pain of your ignorance. You got to feel the pain of your unwillingness to forgive, the pain of your unwillingness uh, to understand. If we could just understand each other, if we could just love each other, how much less suffering would there be? How much less suffering? I think that's what it is. Have you ever raised a child? Have you ever raised a child? You got to be patient. They're not always going to agree with you. They're not always, but they need mercy. They're going to do their own stubborn thing. They're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. But you got to be patient with them. They're going to cause their own suffering. They're going to cause their own, because we put consequences. Oh, you don't want to eat? Oh, you want to smack your brother? Oh, you want to be a tattletale? We put these little punishments on them. And hopefully they come around. Some people grow up into adult children, because they didn't have that grace, that mercy, that understanding. That's what causes psychopathy, I think. That's what causes the give-a-dammer. You can break the give-a-dammer. I think that's what it is no matter how old you are, you can always learn something. Be less stubborn. Be less ignorant. Don't be so set in your ways. We cause our own suffering. I don't think it's God causing us to suffer. I think it's us being stubborn. I don't know. Wow, you're making me think today. Sometimes I like to think. I like to think that we need to accept personal responsibility. And at least raise a kid or two. All the way up to 18. And then some. And see how much suffering a kid brings upon themselves. All those times they weren't allowed to go out and play. All those times they didn't go to Disneyland. Because they were being difficult. All those times they didn't get a box of Cracker Jacks. Because they were mean, They hit their brother. But then again, we've got to be like God when we're parenting. It's like, well, they say God has your life mapped out. I don't really agree with that. I don't think it's mapped out. I think each day you're making decisions. Each day you're being faced with difficulties and challenges. What do you do when you get those challenges? Do you give up? Do you become negligent? Do you become lazy? Sometimes we do too much. We need to be a little lazy sometimes. We need to let some stuff, not worry about what you can't do anything about. That's what causes the hypertension. Don't worry about what you can do nothing about. But then we don't know. We don't always know what we're supposed to be doing. Do the stuff you can handle. The young child doesn't cause... Oh, yes, they can. Have you ever raised a child? A child can cause problems. They can get difficult sometimes. Have you ever watched a sibling hit another sibling? Have you ever watched a sibling tell off another sibling? I think that's what's different. You understand God when you become a parent. When you become a parent, you start to understand God. You start to understand you got to place conditions. You got to make life a little hard in certain circumstances. And it makes them better kids. I think that's what it is. And you never answered me. Have you ever raised a kid? I'm on about a child been abused. That child doesn't cause... No, that was caused to them. That was caused to the... Yeah. That child has no control over what someone did to them. That's what I mean. Personal responsibility. Protecting that child from an abuser. Get to know who the abusers are. A lot of it's done in secret. A lot of abuse is done in secret. But how do you get that secret to come out? I think maybe if God can show you, and he does, if you need something revealed to you, say, I don't want my kid to be abused. Show me, or avoid, I'm trying to remember how did that go? It was lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. We need to be delivered from evil. And you need to ask God to do that. Because then, just like a neighbor, you ask a neighbor to help you. Approach God and say, lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. Remind me to lock my door. Remind me to watch for behaviors, things that are very telling. Ask other people. Say, what do you think about this guy? Oh, I wouldn't let him near my kids. What do you think of this guy? Oh, wow. He spends a little too much time around the playground, I think that's what it is a little seek and ye shall find. But again, I don't know everything. But what I do know is pay attention to who your kids are hanging out with. And if somebody says, hey, can I take your kid to the movies? Hey, can I take your kid out to the swimming pool? No. I could take my own kid to the swimming pool because I know I'm not going to abuse him or her, Hey, we're having a sleepover. It's like, no. Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to say, no. No, I'm not going to let my daughter sleep at your house. That's how a lot of kids get violated, whatever word I can use. They're invited to a sleepover, and the parent has things they put in the drink, But yeah, it's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault that they fall into the hands of the wrong person. It's the parents, not investigating, being way too trusting. Well, I guess we're talking about stuff we need to talk about. Yeah, done in secret, but God knows. God has responsibility. Some kids, I detect, I detect that you went through something. You probably went through something as a kid, and uh, and it would leave you hurt. It would leave you hurt and confused, and wondering where was God? Where was God in all this? And it's about what we experience. You can't know another person unless you've experienced, yeah, a family member. Yeah. The one you should trust the most are the ones who do those things. I've heard cases. I'm not ignorant of what family members do to each other. And I think that's what it is. Yeah, you wonder, where was God? Where was God in all this? And I don't know. But it's your choice. It's your choice. Where do you go now? Do you take steps towards healing? Do you take steps towards trying to understand more? Because, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's not. You know what? And I think so you can understand, you know, when someone comes to you and says these things happened, you'll be able to understand. Maybe that's why we're chosen sometimes. I was a kid who was beaten up by my dad, you know. So when someone comes to me and says, I was beaten up by my dad, I can understand. I can sympathize, or empathize, rather, empathize. I can empathize because my dad, the person who should be protecting me, the person who I should trust implicitly, was beating me up and harming me in more ways than one. And and it makes me wonder, where was God? But you know what? Maybe God was there the whole time. He just wanted you to learn what it's like to be an abused person. That's wrong, Eddie. Do you realize how many kids are abused by family? I, I just said I'm one of them. I'm not to the degree that some are, but I have been abused by family members, you know, and maybe it's so that I could understand, so that I could know. Somebody could come, unless you've been through it, you can't really know. I don't think you can really empathize with somebody unless you've really been through it, unless you've really had something like the loss of a loved one who was murdered, a loved one who killed himself, you know, unless you were there, unless you knew, you can't really empathize. Not to the degree, you know, that one would have to, you know. These are tough subjects, aren't they? It could make or break a relationship. Yeah. Yep. I've been there mentally and verbally and emotionally. When your self-esteem is just shot to hell because you've been abused by your dad to the point where you don't feel worth anything. You feel like as soon as you lose your job, you're worth nothing. As soon as you can't support yourself, you feel worth nothing. You know, maybe now I can relate. I can empathize. You're not the only one who's been hurt. You're not the only one. And I guess I can understand, you know, going through something and going, where was God in all this? When children are harmed. But then again, looking into who's spending time with your kid and why. Why do you want my kid to come over to your house for a sleepover? Why do you want my kid to come to your house and watch a movie? You know, is this a good idea? Abuse is not love. Abuse is not love. And I think that's what we need to know is the opposite. The opposite. Before we understand love, we know the opposite of that. You haven't gone to anybody. I don't think you've gone to anybody. But then again, who can you go to? Who do you trust? Are you seeking healing? Are you seeking a sympathetic ear? And I think, yeah. Look up Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor, her mother was really abusive to her. The story she told. You know, and it's, you could probably sympathize or empathize with her, what she went through, having mental illness and abuse, you know. I think that's what we need to do is seek out people who have been through it. We don't always understand. How can we understand why things happen? Why would something be allowed to happen? And maybe I'm not a counselor. This is Eddie's Funhouse. And sometimes you need a hug. I can usually sense when people haven't had a hug. I was thinking about one of the nurses when my mom went to cardiac rehab today. One of the nurses kind of stood out to me. I wanted to come up to her and say, you know, how long has it been since you've had a hug? And how she would respond to that. Maybe I'll pray for her that she gets a hug. Even if it's not me. She might have been like me, lonely, alone, feeling alone, nobody to come home to except maybe her cat or her dog. Yeah. Well, it's been almost 2 hours. I can just say this, you're not the only one. You're not the only one who has gone through suffering. Another movie I like is Split. Have you ever seen the movie Split? Look that up. And watch the movie. It's an eye-opener. The movie Split. It talks about abuse and scars, you know, things of that nature. Well, there's a reason we're here. There's a reason you're here. And we'll see who else joins today. 10 likes. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Fire. 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 It'll be interesting. So fire. Amazing. 11 likes. Thank you. Hey, guys. How's it going? 10 out of 10. That's right. Bum, bum, bum. Maybe today you're going to get a little healing. Because God knows we need it. We need healing. Or a little... thank you for subbing. I thank you. There's a reason we're here. Who knows? We're going to talk some groundbreaking stuff here today. Groundbreaking. all-inspiring sense of humor. On a lighter note, so why would God want you go through abuse just to know what it's like to realize how messed up that sounds? That's not moral way of thinking. I don't know. I'm just talking to you from my life experience. My life experience, suffering made me aware of things. It made me understand, you know, more can be done to stop suffering or to prevent suffering. And it can sound twisted. I wish I didn't go through suffering. I wish I wasn't beaten, burned, you know. But you know what? What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I'm not dead yet, so I must be a little stronger. And I can talk to someone like you who has gone through suffering and say I've been through that too. So wow, we're having interesting conversations. There's no justification for it. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I wish I didn't have to go through. I would like to, if I could plan my life, it would be short and sweet. Just short, brief and to the point. It'd be nice if my life was brief and to the point. But you know what? The specially trained people, the Navy SEALs, the Green Berets, the intelligence, CIA people, they go through a lot more than your average soldier. A lot more toughening up, a lot more abuse, a lot more suck it up buttercup kind of stuff. And that's what makes a Navy SEAL. That's what makes a Green Beret. And maybe in a way I'm going through the Green Beret stuff. I'm going through the Navy SEAL stuff. I'm going through my buds, not to compare them to me, but I kind of get the feeling that I'm going through special training when it comes to people. Because, have you ever watched the Navy SEALs train? Have you ever watched the Green Berets train? Or the Shaolin monks? Holy cow, those poor kids. What they go through to become a Shaolin monk. But how do they benefit people? Once they've learned all these methods and techniques, they're able to teach people, and I think that's probably what I'm going through. I'm going through my buds. I'm going through my gym, I think they call it in Green Beret training. The Delta forces, you can't be a pussy. You can't be a wimp or a sissy or a pansy. There's no pansies when you're helping people. De oppresso liber. That means liberate the oppressed. That's what special forces. De oppresso liber. That's Latin. Yeah, liberate the oppressed. It sounds like French, but it's Latin. Liberate the oppressed. And you know what? It's worth it to go through that little more suffering. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Embrace the suck. I think that's what the SEAL teams say. Embrace the suck. And we got to do that sometimes. You can't just fold. I'm not asking bring it on. But you know what? It shows I'm not a wuss. They choose that they are aware of the training, so that completely different. That's a choice. But then again, before you're born, I hear we make choices before we're born. I've heard that. People who have near-death experiences, we choose the lives we're going to have. And maybe before we're born, we already have that kind of in mind. You know what? Yeah, I want to help people, so I'm going to go through some stuff. I am back. All right, from the Moody's. I guess we're having a pretty good discussion. We're getting out all the uglies. We're letting out the skeletons. You are back. Did you enjoy your movie? I'm glad I got my charger on. I think it's almost time to eat. My mom sounds like she woke up. You did enjoy your movie. All right. All right, all right. Yeah, what choices do we make? What choices do we have? But you know what? There's a reason. We don't know what that reason is sometimes. Thank you for subbing. I thought you already did. But anyway, everyone has their own pace. Thank you for liking. Now I'm up to 13 likes. A little cowboy song. You think no one would choose life of suffering? I don't know. I think it's to each person. Yeah, know thyself. Would you choose, if you knew that there was a little suffering involved in helping someone else, would you take that? What? If you knew there was going to be a little suffering involved, but you were helping someone, like a hot day, it's a hot day, and you have to get out there and help them pick some strawberries so they can meet their deadline. You put on your big hat, and I guess you walked into a conversation. That's what happened. Sometimes you don't even know what the conversation's about. Yeah. Or like a puppy dog that walked into some thorns, Are you going to grab onto those thorns so you can get that puppy dog out of the thorns? I don't know. How much suffering are you willing to take or take on yourself? Someone's lost in the rain, and you go out there with your raincoat, and you really would rather be home in your nice warm bed. Night, Eddie, thanks. Thank you. Oh, you got me a little kiss. Thank you. All right, I think it's supper time now. We're going to get to the uglies. See you. All right, I think we've talked enough. Thank you for joining me, those of you who just joined me. Thank you for my 14 likes. And to better day tomorrow. Hit that button. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yes, I am.